This was about a little over a week ago, and I'd like to just show you sort of the hit to put you guys into the World Series.
Ball and no strikes on Nicole DeWitt. Haeger delivers, slaps it into left field. That's gonna drop it for a single. McLean's coming to the plate. Here's the throw home. She's safe. Gators win. Going back to the championship series, and the freshman Nicole DeWitt finally drives the nail in the coffin.
This required some risk on your end.
I didn't actually think there was any risk at all. I've watched it 10 million times.
Just, you're going to see this hit, and Tim starts his celebration. And I mean, look how close this play at home is.
And brings McLean to the plate.
Honestly, though, my wife showed it to me. I mean, she after the game, she couldn't
Look
believe
at
it.
this
What are
guy.
you doing?
The answer is a fresh.
He's fired up. So you don't know, like, here's my favorite thing. So I'm working to be better at Twitter, all right? And so anytime I get excited or want to express excitement, I have a little vine here. And this is all looped, okay? So it's awesome to watch over and over. Isn't that awesome? Can you imagine if they got him out at home, what would happen there?
It would be, I didn't think it was, it's my fastest player on my team. I know I've done this 100 times. So it didn't even cross my mind.
Well, in all seriousness, can we just kind of start with how our journey started? And it kind of started through this collaboration that we have going at Florida. Can you explain to them what goes on?
Yeah, 2 seasons ago, I started working a little bit with my coaching staff and players just on a little bit of a disc profiling, understanding yourself, getting a better understanding of who you are so that I could figure out how to work better with my staff, my relationship with my own family, and then my players. After we won the championship, Becky approached us and said, hey, we're going to do this collaboration. You were who she was talking about.
You were skeptical.
Very skeptical. I'm like, you know what, I've been doing it like this. This is how it goes. This works. I don't want to have any new ideas. And
he's very vocal about that.
and it's not that I have a process, and I don't necessarily want to change too many things that have been successful on a certain level. And to be honest with you, I was 15 minutes in. You know, and obviously you bring in Coach Donovan and Mary Wise and all these champions, and they're fully engaged, and your presentation skills sold me right away.
It's interesting because if you look, it just leads beyond that room. So can you explain what's going on in this picture?
Yeah. And I reached out to Coach Donovan, and obviously I've been a Thunder fan since they started in Oklahoma City when they moved from Seattle. My family's from Oklahoma, and it's awesome. And he came in and spoke to our team and talked about the pressures of winning a championship and being #1, and that last year's championship has nothing to do with this year's championship. And it was just a great experience. And we had a couple girls chase him out the door just to get a picture of not only excitement, but again, it's a celebrity. You want to get that thing taken care of. It was cool.
And it's just interesting how when we start to collaborate, a lot of coaches at universities or really any environment work and operate independently of one another. And I think that this collaboration, not that there wasn't collaboration prior, but I think it's just accelerated it.
No question, and Coach Donovan's always been there by phone, by whatever. But I think that's the excitement that I've had from doing this collaboration, and even this collaboration in this room is that we all think we're all competing against each other, and we're really not. We're competing with each other. And I've reached out to some of my colleagues that I actually want to beat on the field. They have a situation, they have a question. And it usually might be X's and O's. It might be about how you deal with certain situations. And I think that's what we're all in this for. We're all in this to share, to figure out. We are going to do it our own way, and our players have to execute. But it's a collaboration of ideas to help everybody get better.
And I think that's what's so interesting, because as I started to work with your team a little bit, there were all these different things that Tim was already doing. And really this whole CPR, which just stands for character, process, result, we're already embedded into his culture. Like, this is a great picture. You can't go anywhere in their facility and go across a mirror that doesn't have this. And think about the messaging that's sending to those players. And from that, can you explain these?
Yeah, the whole idea of the Go Green, as you're going to go into probably a little bit more today, but just taking chances, and not just taking chances on winning and losing, but taking chances on friendships, taking chances on everything that you do in life. Don't go in it halfway. Go in there all in and be committed to what you're going to do. The competier is the word, the strive together word. We wanted everybody to strive together, that no one individual is more important than the team.
And that was your message in the championship game, right? That 20, it's not...
And that was really a negative turn positive. I can think of all the times we've lost at the national championship, at the College World Series, and you can think about that one person. You always remember the last person who got out. It's not their fault, but that's the video that you see from teams celebrating. And at the end of the day, I wanted all my players not to get too selfish upon their own result, good or bad, and just remember that no matter what, we're all in this together. If we win, we're going to do it together. If we lose, we're going to do it together, and it's not going to change the way we feel about each other.
And it's interesting. Every year, Tim has a different theme with his team, and I think that this picture captures it perfectly with the girls, with their time cards. Can you explain that a little bit?
Yeah, the time card idea was just to understand that when you walk through the front gate, and you got to punch in a code to get in the gate, and you walk in the front gate, when you step onto the field through the gates, is that no matter what's going on in your life, there's nothing more important than what we're getting ready to do. And leave your bags wherever they're at. And I don't want you to worry about anything. We don't want your cell phones. We want you to come out and work. And that work is going to be hopefully separated from any and all outside distractions that are going on with you personally.
And I think it's a great reminder on how to separate who you are from what you do. And there's just all these different things that you had going. This is a really cool theme, and the whole idea was we come to work every day, right?
Yeah.
And you actually have...
I brought it. Yeah, I brought one of our Lunchbox here. And these are old school right here. This is like dented up. Some of our girls put it in their travel bags when they went, and it was turned into an accordion by the time we got to the end of the season. But the whole idea behind the Lunchbox was, and you and I worked together, and just to try to figure out how can we capture the season and not just be about what size ring do I wear, what color is my tattoo going to be when I win a championship, because that's what everybody wants these days. So I wanted them to have memories and moments and something that they can look at. And so, you showed some things. You're going to show more things. But we had a little bit of everything. And
let's hold off on that for 2 seconds. So this, we could keep these up, but this is Tim presenting to the other coaches at Florida. This is what's in this. And do we want to start with the bouncy ball?
Yeah, I think that as everybody's talked about video is more powerful than words. And I think if you can try to capture real life things to make reference to situations that would happen in sport or in life, the bouncy ball is that, everybody has played with the bouncy ball in their lives. And, no matter what goes on, no matter what happens, you got to bounce back. You got to bounce back. So it's just kind of a symbolic way to let them know.
And that stuck with them.
They loved it. They loved it.
Because and then we started to talk about how long does it stay? If the ground is a setback, how long does that stay on the ground? And it was really sticky for them.
Yeah, they really, and I think you've dealt with other athletes that felt the same way. It was a really good experience.
Absolutely. And maybe kind of talk about, this is one that all the players in our academy really like.
Yeah, I mean, gum is just like resiliency. No matter how hard you chew, no matter what you chew, it always bites back. It just keeps coming back and coming back and coming back. And it's just kind of, again, a symbolic way to give you that. And I think your story about that is even better than ours. But I just wanted them to understand, just have some kind of a little thing that, just you're going to keep chewing at it and chewing at it and chewing at it. And hopefully one day you'll get to where you want to get to.
And really, that's what it became about. Can you kind of show the glossary cards here?
Yeah, and I know talking with Dr. Lair and other coaches, that just a glossary of words. I think as coaches, and I can use my sport for example, but I can use other sports. If you talk about, in our sport, being able to hit the ball to right field or being able to hit the ball to left field, or in basketball, stopping your unforced turnovers or be able to hit your outlet or be able to make your free throws, if you don't practice those things, I don't know how we can as coaches expect them in a big game to be able to do it. And so we created a glossary of words, and these words, just the simple words, and I wanted every single person, as you did, to have the same definition. So there was no... it wasn't subjective at all. Everything was, if you're going to be appreciative, here's what it's going to mean. Recognizing the good in someone or something.
And all of those have the definitions on the back.
Yeah,
every single one. We closed the gap of interpretation. I got to tell you, we knew this was starting to take off You see the unselfish card up here. Amazing stuff. One of the players laid down a bunt, and they panned to the dugout, and you see the players waving the unselfish cards. So they were attaching these to moments.
And that's not driven, none of that's driven by the coaches.
How does that feel when you see that? Because it wasn't planned.
I didn't see it at all until because you watched the game on TV. You said, I couldn't believe when I saw the card pop. I go, what card? And you told me that they're pulling out the cards out of their lunchbox. So every symbolic message that's in this, they're starting to live and recreate in a game.
And we actually have a clip. This is Bailey. Can you kind of set the clip up? She struggled a little bit hitting.
Yeah, Bailey Castro had been, at the end of her season, she's a senior, and what you don't recognize here is Bailey tore her labrum on her first swing at the College World Series. No one knows that about her. She tore her labrum, and she swung and missed, and swung so hard she tore her labrum. And so at the end, we're trying to, as Coach Donovan said, will her to get a hit here.
Yeah.
This is high, 1-1.
And so you can see they pan over to the dugout, and Delaney is holding a card.
Yeah.
And for those of you that can't see that, that's confident. And it's not like this game you lost.
Yeah, we did.
And so it's not like it's, hey, everything's good. They do this. They come together in moments of adversity.
Yeah, and some would call it rally moments. Some would call it a lot of different things. But I think the perspective of it is that you've got a group of people that are in the dugout rooting for the person out there in the batter's box competing by themselves, but just trying to help them relive all the preparation that goes into being a good athlete and have confidence.
And I tell you, as you watch that, you just feel it because you see that it's possible. And you see what happens when players take ownership. And really, that's what this whole thing became about. Tim and I were sitting down, and we were just brainstorming on how we could make these lunch boxes better. And your whole thing was our job as coaches is to give them.
Yeah, our job as moments is to give them moments, capture moments. And I know Coach Krzyzewski's talked about the same thing later on as I read, but the key, everybody has an iPhone. Everybody on my team had an iPhone, and you go into to the pictures and the photos, and it's all about moments. And I think at the end of every season, whether it's a championship or it's not a championship, it's our job as coaches is to hopefully create positive moments. And sometimes negative moments are also good as well. But
for learning,
that was the whole point of this, was just to really capture the season in a box, but keep it in your hearts.
And this we call these Gator cards. All right, and so this is of Kelsey Stewart. She's a great second baseman. And they were down, I was actually at this game, they were down 9-0.
In the first inning.
In the first inning, all right? And LSU was ranked number 2 at the time, and they came back and scored 10 straight. And she was quoted as saying this after the game. And
what's lost in that quote is we lost the game. We come back tied at 10-10. LSU hits a grand slam in the next half of the inning. We lose 14-10. This is our first loss of the season, and everybody was wondering, how are we going to bounce back from our first setback of the season? We'd won 28 straight games.
And what a great way to sort of segue. And so that's really what the rest of the season became about. We started to try and just give them moments, and really cool stuff. Here's some of the moments that we captured. And all of these things mean a lot to these players, and they have a deck of cards that are moments. And really, talk about that, because we had some discussion. We wanted a postseason theme.
Yeah, we really worked. And I think everybody in this room, we all do the same stuff, but the athletes that we're coaching nowadays are way more visual. I asked our athletes just something simple. Hey, if we go to the College World Series this year, and one of my players said, Coach, we need a hashtag. I go, what do you mean we need a hashtag? We need a hashtag. We need a hashtag to go to the World Series.
It's the key to success. That's what it is.
And I said, so if I get you a hashtag and put it on a T-shirt, you're going to play your butt off for me and get to the College World Series? He said, yep. I couldn't believe it. So I got a hashtag and a T-shirt the next day, and we're ready to go. I just can't believe the different motivation tactics that kids love. And we're talking about a simple card to keep them reminded of who they are and who they play with, and it gives them internal motivation to come out and fight every day, and it's incredible.
And it's just amazing to see them take this over. So again, the mantra became win the moment, and see if you can make out what they're saying in this clip. We didn't do anything with wardrobe. But as you can see, they're taking these themes and they're breathing life into them, and it's a really cool thing. And I got to tell you, we talked a little bit. So what happened in the World Series was you guys won the first game, and then
The championship series, yes.
Yep, championship series. Is that, they don't say World Series?
Well, the World Series is when you saw me jumping up and down, that was the World Series. When you win that game, you go to the championship
It took
series.
me literally like 30 minutes of, look, Brett, this is how our postseason works. I'm just used to the brackets, all right? And so here this is, and I don't know, I said before the second game, hey man, win the moment,
And I said, F that, Brett. Obviously, it was...
let's win the moment, right? And they ended up losing that moment. Well, not losing, they lost the game, not the moment.
Correct.
Two separate things here.
Correct.
But I felt compelled, I was taking a shower the day of the game, and I felt compelled to send a text. And I don't know if you guys can read this. I will read it to you guys. The reason Anson has such a high winning percentage in championship games is because he's able to get his teams to want to win for their teammates, seniors, more than they want to win for themselves. Hashtag win a moment, hashtag have a blast. One of my all-time favorite quotes about championship games from you is, whoever is the closest to normal will win. Nobody is more prepared than you and your team. And there's what Tim's response. And so what was so cool is we're going to show you the last out to win the championship and just kind of see how this is captured.
Haeger retoes the rubber. Here's her 1-2. Ground ball slowly hit the first. Swoots tags the bag. See you later, OKC again. The Gators are back-to-back national champions.
Well, you can't be any more proud of what this team
Do they
has
pre-plan
accomplished.
throwing the
It's
gloves?
such a great feeling. Know that you can
Some
make
things you
history.
just don't mess with and
You
get in their way, let them
broke
be.
that curse that you were talking
Well,
about,
and
game
it's
two
super
winner
interesting
against the
because
World Series. Not
one
this
of the
time,
things
that was
we
Florida.
talked
And
about
you
is
won the championship
at the
game.
very
Very
beginning of the
proud.
year, they wrote a letter to softball, every one of the players, and
That's
talk about what they did for that. Like, how did they use those letters before the championship game?
Yeah, and I love the idea. You had me actually write the same letter as a coach, and they wrote the letter to softball, and again, some wrote it really quickly, and some wrote these long, elaborate page letters. Brett had them photocopy these letters so he could keep a file of one, and then they could keep the original. And they folded them all up and they put them in their lunch boxes. And on the Wednesday before before we walk onto the field, about an hour before game time, Bailey Castro, one of our seniors, says, "Hey guys, pull out your letter to softball. Let's all read them." And they all read them. And again, this is no directive. You know, I'm there, and as soon as they said that, I walked out of the room. I'm like, "Hey, I got to get out of their way. You know, this is not about me. This is about them. And this is a kid that's never going to play softball ever again. It's her last softball game of her life, and this is what she's talking about. Read your letter to softball. Not let's go out and kick somebody's butt. Not let's, you know." And she didn't start that game. She didn't even play in that game. I played a freshman, and what a I can't. I mean, again, I told you if I was emotional, I'd probably be crying right now. The fact
Save that for the end, man. Yeah.
the fact that she would do that, and it was
It's
an
remarkable.
unbelievable feeling.
And I get choked up thinking about it. I texted you saying I watched the game with tears in my eyes. So it was really cool too, because you got to think about those two text messages that I sent to Tim where Anson, and he's going to share how he does it. He gets his team to want to win for their seniors. And the second one, and I loved your quote, was, "Whoever's closest to normal will win." Well, this is the first quote that Lauren said, and Lauren was the National Player of the Year in the press conference. We were who we are today. So clearly they bought into being normal. And then you sent me this tweet.
So after the game, I told each one of our, I tell you, the kids nowadays are so interesting. Get you a hashtag and a T-shirt. We're going to go to the World Series. After I get out of the press conference, I come on the field and I hear something. I get ready to the bus. They're still on the mound, and I'm mind you, it's an hour at least that I'm doing this media. They're all still out there on the mound holding the trophy, and they wouldn't leave. And I go, "Hey, I'm really proud of you, and I just want to let you guys all know we don't have Twitter. You guys all get one tweet," and that was one player's tweet. right there, and that's why I sent it to you.
And then unbelievable. Win for the seniors. So they totally bought in, and it was really interesting. Just, I get emotional when I think about it, and what I'm about to show you guys is a clip from Kelsey Stewart, that great second baseman. When we show this to the guys in our academy, even they, when you see this is the second baseman.
Got the video going.
Of course he does.
Kelsey behind her back.
No, she didn't.
Oh
No,
my.
she didn't. Oh,
The creativity
my goodness.
is, and she practices
Kelsey
that.
Stewart
Practice it
goes
every day.
behind her back.
It's the only time you can
to
use
throw
that
out
throw
the
because of the
super
positioning
speedy Courtney
of your
Emanuel.
body.
You know, and you think, okay, is this a showboat move? But really, it's where she's positioned. She fields this ball, and look at the athleticism and the pop she
pop.
had going behind
And
the
so,
back. But this would've been
I'm
like
just
a
going to tell you,
no-go,
that
know,
everyone's
looking the other way.
and her influence on the youth is remarkable. And here's a tweet that a quote that was tweeted out. Win or lose, I want everyone to know we play for each other and for that little girl who wants to be in this position. And then we created a Gator card for that. And maybe the coolest thing, and we'll end with this, that happened, Lauren Haeger, unbelievable player. She was the National Player of the Year. She's in a category with Babe Ruth. What's the category? Can you?
Yeah, so
I mean, that's crazy to say, isn't
Lauren
it?
Haeger won the Hondo Award yesterday morning as well. As a senior, good player. So she's the first guy or girl to play Division I baseball, collegiate baseball or collegiate softball at any level to win, to hit 70 home runs and get 70 wins as a pitcher. The only player to ever do that in any form of organized is Babe
I mean,
Ruth.
that's remarkable, isn't it?
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. And early in the season, Tim asked me to work with 4 of the players that are kind of the key influencers, would you say, of the team?
Yes.
And so we began and we did something, and I just want to show you something before I show you what we did. This is the post-game press conference after winning the national championship. One of the media members asks Lauren, what do you want your legacy to be at the University of Florida? And here's what she said.
And then Lauren, the last game in your career, how do you want Gator fans to remember your legacy?
I mean, I just want everyone to, know me as a person more than a softball player, and that when you work hard, good things happen for you. When you really buy into something, I bought into what Coach Walton does and did, and it worked out. And I am so thankful to be a Gator, and it's been a great time.
Isn't that unbelievable?
That's right after winning a championship. I couldn't believe when I watched that.
And one of the things that we did is I gave her a character checklist, and this is such a great activity to do with athletes. I gave her a character checklist, and I asked her to pick the 5 performance and 5 moral skills that she wanted to be known for as a player. Could be things that she's already good at, could be things that she wants to improve.
And this is in October.
And so what we did then is I asked her to fast forward to the end of the year, the awards banquet speech, and actually script out what she wants her coaches and her teammates to say about her. And I wanted her to incorporate the 5 performance and 5 moral skills that she picked. And you had no idea. In fact, we had a private collaboration with all the speakers yesterday. And Tim, do you mind if I read this to you?
No.
I'm gonna stand up so I can see it. And here's what Lauren wrote. This season for Lauren was definitely one to remember. She grew up as a person, as a player, more than she ever has. Her positivity and discipline showed the coaches and the teammates on the field that she has grown and matured throughout these past 4 years. She was motivated to be successful this season in the classroom and on the field as well. She worked towards her goals with a creative mind, always thinking of different ways to get better. She learned the meaning of being unselfish and cared for her teammates on and off the field. She was always there for them whenever they needed someone to talk and was an extra set of ears to hear them out. She has always been respectful, but she bought into the coach's plan and respected them enough to trust everything they wanted. She stayed humbled throughout her success, and she appreciated everyone that helped her have the best season of her life. And what's crazy is if you actually watch the post-game press conference, I would encourage you to do that. That is exactly what Coach said, and you got a little bit emotional.
She wrote this letter to herself. I couldn't believe when I read this yesterday that she wrote this letter to herself about herself, and I said this letter about her out loud, publicly, on a post-game press conference, and it's an eerie. It's very rewarding to know that you can impact somebody positively. And I told Lauren that, you know what, Lauren is one of the best players to ever play the game and ever to play for us, but her legacy will only be a legacy when she gets her degree from the University of Florida.
How cool is that? And I think that might be why this year was one of the most fulfilling years you've had in coaching.
There's no question. It's easy to say that when you win. I mean, it really is. It's a lot easier to say it when you win. I've lost national championships before, and love the players on my team, but I've never spent the time that I have this year to impact more people. And I'm not saying I was ever a mean or selfish person, but I do know that the motivation was definitely a lot different this time than it was in the previous years.
It's awesome. Let's give him a hand. That's awesome.